really big shoe.
Ed Sullivan?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I never watched that show. It was, I remember it being on. Another show that I remember being on that I didn't watch. We only had the one TV. So I think we had two, one in my parents' bedroom and one in the living room, but, Mission Impossible. My dad really was a big Mission Impossible fan.
Peter Graves?
Yes, Peter Graves. And I don't know about you guys, but did it piss you off whenever Cruise started doing Mission Impossible? How they made Peter Graves a traitor and killed him off? Nobody remembers.
No.
I don't guess I remember that.
Yeah, so, I think on the first one, that's how Ethan or whatever the guy's name. I've never watched those Mission Impossible movies.
Ethan Hunt.
All right, let's get started. Hi, I'm Tony, and this is the Jeep Talk Show Roundtable episode. The much talked about, much maligned, much complained about. No, it's fine. So let's get started with the now famous or infamous line. Hello, Zoom people.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
All right, so be part of our weekly Zoom meeting. Just go to jeeptalkshow.com/contact to find out how to join. So, Roger, do you have any questions for the audience?
After I just said I'll be right back. Yeah, not at the moment. I got to work for a minute.
All right, that's good. Remember, wash your hands. It's not just for employees. All right, so as promised, we're going to get started with talking about debriefing the 5th annual Jeep Talk Show off-road event. It happened this past weekend, and I'm not sure exactly, and you guys wouldn't be the ones to ask, but we didn't have a really, I don't want to say it was a big turnout. It was certainly, it doesn't matter. It's the quality of the people, right? But we've had 25 to 30 Jeeps show up for the prior 4 years. So the turnout was a little low. Does anybody have any idea why maybe the turnout was low?
Because not as many people came.
I'm thinking it's my fault for not promoting it more.
It's always your fault, Tony.
Yeah, we're always going to blame you. You're the scapegoat. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of promotion like on either like Facebook pages or socials or whatever. It was just kind of like, it was the in the know and just show up kind of deal.
Yeah, it was talked about on the Discord, but I didn't see anything posted or an event posted anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I think the weather forecast probably didn't help either.
How was the weather? Because it seems like that's always an issue. I mean, whenever John Lee's talking about it, he goes, yeah, Hot Springs is great. And it's just, well, it was real muddy because of all the rain and stuff. And I've heard that several times.
It rained.
Yeah. It rained
And
really good on Saturday morning.
We found out our tent leaks. Both of them.
And bad lightning storm. So it kind of held off us getting out to start the ride. There was 3 other Jeeps that were there, and they wanted to try to get riding in before the storm started. I think they actually got caught in the storm, so I'm sure they had an interesting time.
Janet, you had an issue getting back home after Hot Springs, didn't you, because of the weather?
Yes, so I ended up staying at my friend's ranch over in Klondike, Texas, which is near Commerce. There was that big storm system that was coming through the DFW area, and I live in Frisco, so that was going to hit us pretty hard. Like, they were predicting 100-mile-per-hour winds, and the further east you went, the less severe it was. So I was in Sulphur Springs on 30, and I just called them and I said, hey, can I just spend the night out here and ride it out? And it was fine. They didn't get hit too bad. It was lightning and rain and wind, but nothing too bad.
Was that I don't remember the area. Was that the same ranch that you did the interview with
Yes.
Sabo? Okay.
Same one. And they have a baby calf that they're hand bottle feeding because the mom's not doing real well with that calf. So I got to feed a baby calf.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat. Yeah. Do they smell as good as they look?
No, it's really soft and fuzzy, but yeah, it's kind of stinky.
They're really cute.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amanda, did you and Micah have any issues getting out there, getting back?
No, I mean, we made it barely in time because we dropped my Jeep off here and then had to like run out to the shop to drop his Jeep off because we don't have enough garage space at the house to make sure we didn't get any inclement weather affecting the Jeeps, but we made it just barely in time.
So how was the park? I've never been there. I've heard good things about it, and this is for anybody, Amanda, you or anybody. Was it your first time there, Amanda?
No, I've been to Hot Springs several times. I mean, it's beautiful. The Ozarks are absolutely beautiful. I feel like every time I'm there, it rains. So that was par for the course. It just gets really humid out there. But the weather actually, I think Friday, we wheeled some on Friday. Before the event, the weather was beautiful. It was a cool breeze. And then after the rain cleared out on Saturday, it was great. So.
Yeah, I wish John Lee was here to defend his Hot Springs thing, because this was actually, I think FU Bob and a few other people were involved in this as well, but I think it was primarily John Lee that wanted to do Hot Springs this year. It's a shame that he and Bill didn't get to do it because of their job.
Yeah, after it rained, it dried up pretty good. Fun run during the rain isn't as fun going up the slick slab, but when we got to it, it was dry. It wasn't any problem going up it.
Let me ask this: is there anybody here that planned on going to the Hot Springs event and didn't go? And if you don't mind sharing why you didn't go?
Hey,
A long drive.
I'm chasing an oil leak, and I'm not quite sure where it's coming from.
The
Oil
engine.
leak, and then today I noticed I got antifreeze leaking too from somewhere. Looks like the radiator cap, but the radiator cap is new. So
Has Steve been alone with your Jeep? Let me just start you there.
yeah, right.
Time to get to jail.
All right. Anybody got any interesting stories? In the latest Chick Chat episode that was published today, Janet shared her off-road story of not giving enough Charlie pedal.
See, I try to tell y'all that I'm not a fast wheeler. Yes, Glenn was getting on to me. He was like, would you stop getting stuck in the rut? Would you just give it some gas? I have a little bit of PTSD from when I was there in December, and I bumped it, and I broke my axle shaft. So I was like, oh, I was afraid to bump it. But yeah, Glenn was like, I'm going to honk my horn every time I see you do that. Stop doing that.
Yeah,
okay?
and the S in PTSD is a $sign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was an expensive trip, only enjoying like maybe, 10 minutes on the trail. So at least this time I got a whole day, trailered Charlie back and drove her today, and she's doing great. So
Are you
no problems.
Are you getting used to hauling the Jeep?
Yeah, hauling from DFW to Arkansas is a lot easier than hauling from DFW to Moab.
Oh yeah.
But it was good. It was good. It's getting a lot easier. The more I do it, the easier it gets. So
now you've never hauled anything before getting the trailer. I think you borrowed it from Amanda and Micah, but the first time you've hauled anything is Moab, right?
correct. When I initially got the trailer from them in February, it was with the intention of having a couple months to drive an empty trailer around town and then I actually loaded my daughter's Jeep on the trailer and drove that around town just to kind of get the feel of it, to practice on hills and whatnot. But yeah, my first serious haul was from Dallas to Moab.
So how difficult was it to find a place to park? I mean, you got to go to the bathroom sometimes. If there's a Buc-ee's, you got to stop. You got to go in and shop. Was it difficult finding a place that you could park with the trailer?
It's you get used to it. I tried to find larger gas stations so I can swing wide and pull in, because a lot of times the pumps are limited. People are scattered all over the place and they'll park wonky and trying to figure out where you're going to park. But Buc-ee's is the easiest one. Trucks, there's a ton of truck stops, so that just makes it easier to pull in.
I would think that, for me anyway, I would think that it'd be easy to find a place to park, but is somebody going to yell at me? Am I putting this in the wrong place?
People can yell at me all they want, and I ain't gonna care.
Well, sometimes you just don't want to do it wrong, and I know wrong is sometimes up to the observer.
Right. Correct.
Yeah,
All
I got
right.
a question for Garrett. Were you behind me when Alicia went up on three wheels?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we had so a friend of mine from our Louisiana 4x4 came with us. Jeremy Cobb, he's been wheeling that park for over 20 years, so he did. I asked him to lead. He was nice enough to lead us perfectly after he found out what everybody was had. We were a little thrown off with Randy not having a winch, and hopefully he's ordered it by now. And Alicia, earlier the day, we were riding, and she got on her cell phone or was changing the radio, and all of a sudden I hear a honk on the horn, and I go back, and I'm like, she's up, and I can't see her back wheel that it's off. So I'm like, okay, hold on a second, let me look. And I started looking, and then I, like y'all talked about, making sure where all the wheels are whenever you're doing recovery. I got down and looked under. I said, oh, yep, don't move. So I had to walk back and literally reach up all the way into the air to grab her back fender to pull her down, and then get on her wheel, her rim, and then tell her, okay, put it in reverse and come backwards. And I rode her rim on my knees until it got back stable. And I actually ended up doing that twice for her.
Yeah, I was behind. I was several Jeeps behind. I had zero idea how that even happened because it was straight up.
I don't know how
it
she
was
did
just
it.
we were just going downhill, and somehow she turned passenger, which is the side of a cliff, like it's down, and then it's a bank on that side, so she turned and her passenger tire just lifted her back up, and her back tire was in the air. I don't
and she
know
kept on
how
moving. She kept on moving a little bit, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah,
stop.
I heard y'all yelling at her because she was trying to get out of it, and she was just teetering. She was getting ready to flop over, and I was like,
She
how did
hasn't had
that
that Jeep
happen?
up on. It was crazy, and Jeremy's and her boyfriend girlfriend, and he just came back and he was like shaking his head at her. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Wheeling.
So,
Making memories.
Yeah, we went. Braden was there also, but he didn't bring a Jeep because he didn't want to break anything. I said, good.
That's a smart man.
Yes. His JK is broken and his TJ he's having some problems with. But when we were pulling out of the parking lot to go riding that afternoon on Friday afternoon, we met up with Randy, and it's like, what do you want to do? 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. And he goes, I'm up for anything. 4s, It's like, all right, what you got? He goes, I got a front locker. And Jeremy's like, okay, he knows where to take you based off of what your rig's capable of. And he took us up. I can't remember what trail that was, but it was just all loose rock all the way up. And then you had to either go forward, and then you had a little cliff to go over, or you went to the left, and it was kind of like a bypass. But to get over there, it was kind of difficult. And I had to winch myself up because I just couldn't get up it either.
Was it Paco's Tacos?
It might have been Paco's Tacos. Then Randy comes up, and he couldn't get up either. So Jeremy said, okay, well, let's winch. And he's like, I don't have a winch. So Jeremy told Braden to bring his Jeep back down the hill, so we were able to winch him over. But he did good, especially just, and after that, we had no problem with him at all, because then Jeremy knew, okay, we don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to winch him up a hill. But I think, Randy, you had a good time, huh?
I did. I really appreciate you and Jeremy kind of taking me under your wing. Yeah, there were things I didn't even know about my own Jeep, and I learned about it then. So, I got outside my comfort zone and I got winched.
That's a great feeling, isn't it? When you find out just how capable your Jeep is. And of course, you haven't even found that yet, but it was more so than what you were expecting, I feel.
That's true. Yeah, and then so that night we went night wheeling, and that was super fun. Got in, right around 12, and then after the rainstorm, went by, we got right back out it. But yeah, it was a good time. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, and we got to point out nobody died.
Correct.
So speaking of dying, Rick was really excited about going out there, making lots of modifications to his TJ. Rick, you want to fill everybody in? I mean, we were talking about it before we got started here, but I'm sure the listeners have seen you, or the viewers, I guess, have seen you working on your Jeep in your garage, and you were doing some pretty major modifications to it right up until the time to get done and head over to Hot Springs, which I think you said is 22 minutes away. This is why your Jeep had a problem, is because you were the closest.
That's probably it. Yeah, I failed. I was defeated. That's for sure. Yeah, pretty major modifications. Did it's all Greg's fault because he's the one recommended it. But did the it's the arms I got are from a Gladiator, so my Jeep's parked Gladiator now. But I got Gladiator control arms, and I installed them on my TJ, which meant I cut a bunch of brackets off and had to do all the geometry, which I didn't think I had to do anymore because I'm grown, right. But I did. And then I had to do all that and complicating things. If I'd have done it like Greg said initially, which was just take one off at a time and figure out where it needs to go and cut off the other bracket and re-weld it, it wouldn't have been so bad. But me, I gotta do a 5-inch stretch in the rear in the middle of all this while I'm putting these new control arms on, because I figured once I cut the brackets off, I might as well get 5 more inches out of it. And which meant I had to move coil buckets and track bar mounts and different things like that.
That's hardcore, man.
It just took a little bit more. And what caused my problem, I actually got it on the tires in my garage, ready to load up and shoot to Hot Springs Friday morning. But when I got in there and tried to start it, it would not start. And I think what the genesis of my problem is all of the fuel lines and the cables that communicate to the back of the Jeep. Not that there's a whole lot of communication going on, but there's enough that I had to pull all that stuff off that frame rail because I was cutting and grinding and welding on it. And somewhere in the process of all that, the main fuel line that goes from the fuel pump to the metal fuel line that's attached to the frame rail, it got a little bit of a kink in it. And I think that kink was causing it to get an air pocket in the fuel line, so that it was just basically keeping me from starting it. And chasing that down was all day literally all day Friday and half the day Saturday. And 11 o'clock Friday night, I had changed out the fuel pump. I changed out the fuel line that had the kink in it. And then I changed the crank position sensor because crank no start, that was one of the major things that was recommended. So,
right.
And which in doing that, because I've done, no modification goes unpunished, because I'd done the tummy tuck, everything was pushed up into the tub. So there's no way for me to get to that crank position sensor without dropping the engine and the transmission down about 4 inches, which meant, it's just a whole, so about 11 o'clock Friday night, I finally got that crank position sensor in, jumped up there to start it and saying, this is going to start. It's going to start. And it didn't. And by that time I was beat. I don't know if you see my arms, I was all burned up from welding over my head under that thing. I was just wore out, beat down and defeated.
So from all that, I think the part that I heard that makes the most sense was it was Greg's fault from unofficial use only.
Yeah,
100%.
If Greg wouldn't have inspired me to do such a crazy thing.
But what's the other part that you told us before we got started here about the ride quality?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, did you drive it?
The seat of your pants feel is completely different for that TJ. I mean, I'm trying to think of the word to describe, but it just feels like it's, I don't know, it feels like it's light on its feet or something. I don't know how to describe it, but man, it is a major change in the ride quality of that Jeep.
Well, that's really good. Well, I'm glad you got it started. We were talking before, and it's just like, it's so scary when your Jeep, especially when you put a lot of effort into it and it won't start. I think Greg had that same problem whenever he was building the JTE for Quadratech. He had a situation where it wouldn't start either. Was it not starting, Greg? I can't remember.
Yeah, it wouldn't do anything. When we put it all back together, we had we thought that everything was exactly where it was supposed to be. However, we were mildly wrong. There's an antenna sensor above the passenger rear tire on JLs that transmits something, and because it wasn't one of the wires didn't have signal, it wouldn't allow the vehicle to start.
Good God.
And it's literally just like this little antenna sensor that's tucked up behind your plastics above the passenger rear tire. So what we had to do is we had to load it on a trailer and take it to the dealership, and they ran all their diagnostics and said, oh, this one sensor isn't reading.
Yeah, I was just chasing fire and fuel. I wasn't chasing all that kind of craziness.
Yeah, but you're lucky that you were at a TJ.
The Brute that we're almost done with, in fact, it's at the paint shop getting cut and buffed. That we ran into the same thing. We got it all ready and everything was hooked up. And the first time we decided to start it, it was crank, 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 crank. No fire, and it was the fuel line, just like you. The difference was we didn't have. There wasn't an air pocket stuck in the fuel line. There was actually some kind of bug had made a nest in the fuel line and blocked it off. And you know, the only way I knew is we started testing things, and I figured that I need compression, spark, and fuel, and the spark plug sparked, so I knew I had spark. So the next one was fuel, because the motor's brand new, so I knew I had compression. So I undid the fuel line, and we turned the key on, and no fuel came out. So then, because the fuel line from the engine to the gas tank, there's 3 different pieces. A lot of people don't know that. There's the front piece, which is about 3.5 feet long. Then there's the middle piece, which runs all the way down the frame rail. And then there's a little tail section that goes right to the tank. So we undid it from the fuel pump first, turned the key, shot fuel. So then the next section, plugged that on, it shot fuel. The long section also shot fuel. It was that 3-foot lead from the frame up to the engine, and it wouldn't shoot fuel through that. So we just disconnected at both ends. I put a air gun on it and about 200 PSI of air, and eventually that little bug nest, whatever it was, shot across the room, and then it fired right up.
It's really just step-by-step logical thinking when you guys have problems with your Jeep. So it's not difficult. Right. It is often very frustrating, but it's not overly difficult. And once you figured it out, you go, I did it. I did that myself. Well, Greg. Well, Rick, I'm glad you got it started. It's just a shame it wasn't just a little sooner.
Now wait till he plays shock and spring tuning and really dials that thing in.
Yep. Yeah, I still got a little bit of a clearance issue in the rear. I'm gonna the lower buckets that sit on the axle. I need to move them up about an inch and a half, because I got a little bit of a because of I had to push it so far up to get my pinion angle right that. Anyway, I got a conflict. I gotta correct.
So you're gonna have to cut it off and re-weld it at the proper angle. Is that what you're saying?
The lower buckets I didn't do anything with those. Those are still the factory buckets.
Gotcha.
And I need to move them up about 1.5 inches. So I got some of the Barnes ones where you can, they actually made for that. And so I'm gonna put those on there. I know I could probably cut the ones I got on there off and move them up a little bit, and then put a gusset in there. But I'm just gonna do this because this is made for it and it looks pretty.
Oh, I'm sure the Barnes are much nicer than the factory.
In my old rusty factory buckets, yeah.
Very good.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
I see Carrie just popped in.
Yeah.
She was there. She was the one we kept on missing out on.
Holy cow. Welcome, Carrie. You're on mute.
Probably on purpose.
Carrie, lower left of your screen, there should be a little bar that pops up with your audio. You can unmute it there.
There we go.
There we go.
That's a girl.
I was just out here getting my hot spring sticker off my windshield.
Yeah, sorry, we kept on missing you.
I know. We decided to head out in that kind of sort of storm, and I know you guys were trying to wait it out. We're like, well, let's go try. We'll see what happens. If it's too slippery, we'll come back. And it was actually pretty fun.
So was this your first time to Hot Springs?
Our second. We went at the beginning of December of 24. So this was our second trip out there. We really liked that park. I wish it was a little bit closer.
Well, I sure am glad you could come out to our event. There's a bunch of good people that were there. It probably was a little better because Rick couldn't show up.
Yeah.
That's harsh, man.
No, we missed him.
I had a whole room that somebody else could have used. I didn't even think about that. Somebody's talking about their tent leaking. If I'd have known, I'd have gave you the code. You could have had the room, because I sure didn't use it. Paid almost $600 or however much it was for it.
Good Lord. You're close enough where you could drive home.
Yeah, 20 minutes away, you get in a room?
Well, if it's 20 minutes, yeah, but it's 23. So.
So if Janet's still with us, I had a question for her. I know that you had a lot of modifications that you did to your Jeep. I can't remember if there was more. There was more after Moab, wasn't there?
Yeah. So in Moab, my rear drive shaft, the CV joints, started making themselves known when I was doing climbs at Pickle. So that needed to be replaced. It was popping whenever I would put it in reverse or drive or take off from a stop. The front drive shaft was just abysmal, and that needed to be replaced anyway. But I had what we thought was a transmission issue that popped up just a few weeks ago. And it was when I would slow down for a red light, and let's say it turned green, and you go down a second gear and you hit the gas to take off. I was getting this shuddering where it felt like somebody was tugging on the bumper, and took it to the shop and took it to transmission. We took it to the transmission specialist, and they thought maybe the clutch was going out or slipping in second gear, because we wheel in second gear, 4-low, and put in some shutter fix. That didn't fix it. And Mike from Platinum Off-Road said, well, let's replace the rear drive shaft, see what happens. And I was like, there's no way. There's just no way.
I wouldn't think so either. Yeah.
Nope. He replaced the drive shaft, and she has been perfect ever since. So when I got home, I messaged him. I said, can we say it's fixed? He goes, no, just please don't say anything for a year.
Right.
After a year, we can say it's fixed. So I was like, okay. So that's it for right now. I have a steering stabilizer I need to throw on there, but that's, whenever I get time to do that. But yeah, new drive shaft, Tom Woods front and rear, and she's good to go for a little bit.
So I was wondering if one of the reasons why you were babying it, I mean, certainly having it broken it before and 10 minutes into your adventure is a good reason, but was the Jeep sufficiently different enough where maybe you just didn't know the capabilities of it yet? I mean, having lockers front and rear, but certainly would change the overall what you'd expect the Jeep to do.
Right. So I got to work out the new rear locker, in Moab. So I got a pretty good feel for that. I really think it was every time somebody kept telling me to bump, and it being slick contributed a lot to that. And every time somebody would tell me just bump it, I was like, ooh, I don't want to because I don't want to hear that pop. But I had a spare axle shaft with me just in case.
Right.
But that's a bummer. Like nobody wants to do that on the trail. So I was a little bit conservative, more so than usual, because I'm a slow wheeler. Like I know y'all don't believe me. Glenn got to see it firsthand, but I'm a slow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, she was good.
But you can be a slower wheeler with lockers and with really all the upgrades that you did. You don't have to do the Charlie pedal so much.
Right. And actually wheeling in Moab, I got more experience with throttle control with a lot of those obstacles. So I felt like that really helped me to this trip in Hot Springs. And if for those that haven't listened to the show yet, like my wheeling anniversary was yesterday. So I've been officially wheeling for 2 years.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of money that you spent on this.
Yeah, I started in Hot Springs and celebrated the second anniversary in Hot Springs. So it's what a vast difference it's been since then. But yeah, no, I was being conservative. I just didn't want to break something, and I don't, it's a big group. I don't want to hold anybody back. So. Oh,
and I didn't mention Janet and Amanda are both members of our Chick Chat, the episode that we put out every Monday, or sometimes Monday-ish. Like we put out a Chick Chat episode today with Natalie and Janet. So it was neat having Janet and Amanda out there at the park for the Jeep Talk Show event. Amanda, did you have anything that you had to get done to your Jeep before you took it off to Hot Springs?
No, actually, that's me knocking on wood. It's been good. It's behaving and staying together. So, and I'm trying to keep it that way.
And you were able to drive it out there, no brakes. Did you guys take 2 Jeeps or just one? I think you were indicating one.
No, we took 2. We trailer. So we have our big 32-foot gooseneck. We trailer both Jeeps. So
who drives the truck?
Well, Mike is the professional. Literally, he has a CDL, so he drives. I'll drive every now and then, like through desolate areas where nobody can be harmed. But
so do you stay awake while he's driving long distances, or are you the helper that sleeps?
No, I stay awake. I navigate.
Doesn't talk.
I pass snacks.
Good.
Get drinks out of the cooler. I'm very helpful.
So Micah's Jeep formed. What? Tell everybody what you have and what Micah has.
So he's here. He can join us.
Oh, hey.
Howdy.
So mine's a 2018 JLU. It's a Sahara, but it has like Rubicon axles under it now, so I'm locked front and rear on 40s, and then he can tell you about Patty.
And mine's a 21 Rubicon Extreme Recon, a lot. And there's not much Extreme Recon left on it at this point.
It's also on 40s.
Yeah, and it's on 40s, but it's still on Dana 44s. Both of them are.
Yeah. And you haven't had any issues with that, I'm assuming.
Not at all. And I wheel it pretty hard.
Did you change the axles out in the 44? I would think up front. But, well, actually, Janet had to do the rear as well. So you're not running the same axles, are you?
No. We're running RCVs in the front and chromoly shafts in the back, and they're both trussed and gusseted, and I mean everything you could do to them to make them beefy. Cast iron knuckles, everything.
I was just going to tease you about aluminum knuckles, so you beat me to
it. No, mine had aluminum knuckles on it until right before Moab. I've been running my Sahara aluminum knuckles, living dangerously. So
yeah,
I'd like you to buy some.
I never get to take mine off road. I still want the iron knuckles. All right, let me jump over to Garrett. Garrett, did you have a good time? Was it how far a drive was that for you?
Well, we took a week-long trip. So I was in S'more the weekend before.
That's right.
And then we went to Springfield we went to a baseball game. And then we went to Branson for a couple of days. And then we went to Bentonville, and then we went to Hot Springs.
Man, you had a good time.
We just kind of went over and down. And then on the way home, we went through Oklahoma and came back.
Out of all the places that you went, which one was the best?
Probably Hot Springs was pretty fun. S'more was pretty tore up because they got a lot of rain. So a lot of the ruts were really big, and there were some mud holes that I found. And I was on 3 wheels a lot at both Hot Springs and S'more. So trying to figure out the balance point on that new 2-door. So, because I haven't had a 2-door for a while.
Is it better than the TJ that you had? Or what's different? What's different, I should say.
Once I fixed the flexing issue, is because I'm having a problem where there's not enough lift for the tire I have. So I'm flexing and it's just smashing the tire in the fender, and I can't go any farther. So once I fix that, it should be all right.
Well, that's one of the things that you learn by going out and doing stuff like this. You learn what more modifications that you have to do. And I'll say that Rick said it earlier, no modification goes unpunished.
Yeah. And I bought it with I think it has like a 2-inch lift on it and 37s. I changed the wheels, put a winch on it. I put an engine skid on it and sliders so I could take it off-road, because it didn't have any sliders on it when I bought it. So I put the Moto-Built sliders on it.
Very, very good. So did I understand correctly, Derek? Did you go? Were you out there as well? Derek's busy.
Oh, sorry, Tony, you talking to me?
Yes, sir. Did I overhear correctly that you were out there as well?
No, we were not. We were in Maggie Valley, North Carolina.
Well, my condolences. It sounds like you missed a good rainy event.
Yeah, we got a little rain. We were at Western North Carolina Jeep Fest, so we did that little event. That was our weekend, and it was wet and rainy there too. So
very good. Maybe you can make it next year. I got a quick question for Carrie. Carrie, so you were. By the way, thank you very much for the very nice email that you sent the Jeep Talk Show, and really appreciate that. Glad you could make it out there. And I'm sorry that you were unable to spend much time with the crew that was out there, but sounds like you had a great time anyway. What is your Jeep? What year, model, so on and so forth?
I have a 2015 Willys 4-door, and my husband's done some nice modifications for me. So he came out with his. He's got a 2023 diesel JL, but he actually brought a new used one out, which is a 2016 Rubicon JK. So he brought the 16 JK out this time.
Man, I just need more money and a bigger yard.
Yeah, we had a good time when we brought 3 other Jeeps with us that hadn't been there before as well. So we had a nice little group.
Oh, nice. That's a good crew, good sized crew. So you guys took off in the rain and were traversing through the unknown.
We were. Some of those trails were really cool in the rain because they were just like you were going through waterfalls and rapids. It was pretty cool. And we were able to pretty much stick to what we were doing. So it worked out okay.
So I would think that that's really the kind of cool thing about the adventure is because the weather plays a role. Even if it's a trail you've done many times before, the weather plays a role. And then the night wheeling, this makes things at least visibly a lot different. So it's a lot of fun. And if people don't understand why we go off-road and why we go to the same place time and time again, that's why, because there's so many different ways that you can do the same thing. And it's different.
True.
All right. Well, did anybody have anything they wanted to add to the debriefing of the 5th annual Jeep Talk Show off-road event before we move on? All right. So let's get to our next question. So I'm curious, what do you guys think about the upcoming Gladiator 4xe? What does it mean to you? Does it mean anything to you? Let's go actually, let's go with, is Greg still here? Yeah. Well, he looks like he's busy. Yep, not unmuting. So let's go to Roger. Does the 4xe Gladiator mean anything to you, or what does it mean anything to you?
Nothing. Not interested in the Gladiator, so.
Yeah, I thought this was the Jeep Talk Show.
Yeah,
Gladiator is the Jeep.
Yeah, but I'm just not interested in a Gladiator. So
Well, now that my Jeep is parked Gladiator, I'll
there you
say
go.
I'm could care less.
What do you guys?
Well said. Well said.
What do you guys think about the
those
four?
arms red?
What do you guys think about the 4xe stuff? I mean, I am not a fan of two drive systems. I think it needs to be one or the other, and I'm fine with either one.
I'm not a fan of electric drive systems yet. They're a blast to drive for a very short amount of time, but the technology, the battery is just not there yet. I've said it before on the show. It's if you run a 4xe and it's purely electric, you can go 20 some miles, 23 miles if you're lucky. And when you're running just on the gas system, the engine is anemic at best.
Right.
So now when you run it in e-save mode, you get both engines and you do get a fairly decent range. And honestly, it's almost as fast as a 392. So it's fun, but they've been plagued with inherent problems, right? They've had recalls on the batteries, they've had recalls on the charging system, they've had recalls on everything. It's just the technology is a blast for short term, but it's not something like I live in rural America, so it's 15 to 20 minutes just to drive to the closest town. So I can completely kill the battery just driving to the store. It's not good. And I know the news hasn't shown a lot of it, but what about when houses burn down because the battery combusts in your garage while you're sleeping? I love the idea. I absolutely love the idea. It's just we're not ready yet, right? Our battery technology is not good enough to sustain a vehicle that you can drive every day, and there's no way that they're going to last. Look at Rick's TJ, that he's doing. There's no way one of those electric cars is going to last that long. It's not going to last as long as the lifespan of a TJ or a YJ or a CJ or a JK and maybe even some of the JLs. I know cars aren't built to last as long as they used to because they want you to buy more cars, but I'm just not a fan of the electric platform yet until the battery technology is better. They are fun to drive, but other than that,
Yeah, I get the feeling.
Even when the battery technology gets there, I would still like to have both, because it doesn't matter how great the technology is; it can still have problems. Then you can still have a battery go dead, or run into a situation where you got someplace where you can't charge. You get to a so-called charging station, find out the thing's out of service. I would still like to have a gasoline engine incorporated. So you always got a backup plan.
Do we know anybody in our group that's got a 4LE parked next to a 89 YJ?
Nope.
And
I will tell you, Hot Springs does have a charging station on it too, though.
Yep.
That's a plus if anybody has one and wants to go.
I'll tell you,
Travis came
after
too.
my weekend at Uwharrie, and we'll get into that later off air. I went to the charging station at my outpost, like the place to go, and they don't have a 4xe adapter. It's for Teslas and everything except a Jeep. I was like, are you kidding me? Because let's just say I had some issues and I drove off the trail in electric only, and I can't charge my Jeep at the outpost. It was just disappointing. But we'll get into my weekend.
Point. That was exactly my point. You run into a situation where you thought you could, but you can't charge.
Yeah. Well, why do you have an outpost? Why do you have a charger at the main point where Jeeps and everybody's in and out? If you've got a 4xe that you do which I'm one of the rare ones that do, and I'll beat it up, and I 100% will beat it up and have fun. But why not have a charger that is capable of your vehicle?
So
I'll mention highly.
I'll mention something to you guys that you probably haven't experienced. Maybe some of you have. Hurricanes. So when there's a hurricane approaching, everybody goes and fills up their vehicle with fuel if they're smart. And very quickly, you get the situation, a no fuel situation. So I still don't think that 22 miles is worth it to me. But in a situation with a 4xe, you actually can drive it even if no fuel is available. And you may get stuck in the 22 miles away, but at least you're not where the hurricane comes on shore, hopefully. Of course, Murphy's Law would follow you.
If your fuel is below a certain level, you're going to have a turtle mode, and you're going to go, it may be 35, 40 miles an hour, but it's going to limit your speed, and you're going to be in turtle-only mode with the 4xe. The 4xe it's a great vehicle, but it's marketed 100% wrong. They're trying to put it mass marketing and get out to everybody. It does come down to circumstance and situations. Is it a great vehicle? Like it's got its issues, it's got its problems, but everything in life does. I have the availability to run engine, I have the availability to run electric. I can charge now at work and charge at home. I run 62 miles, round trip to work and back, and I'm doing 500 miles on a tank of gas. That's a fantastic option on a Jeep on 37s, lifted, skid plates, winch, heavy.
Hell, any Jeep.
Big Jeep. Any Jeep. 500 miles is fantastic, and I love it. It's all about charging scenarios, the terrain you're in, the weather you're in. There's so many different factors, but Jeep doesn't, they mass market it to the general public, and it's not a general public vehicle. You have to learn what it is.
The electric part of the Jeep is more of just any kind of, or a fuel economy booster.
Well,
100%.
You guys got to realize Jeep is a business. Their goal is to make money. And if they put out, sell X number of regular Gladiators, now they're going to sell even more because they're selling the 4xe, then so be it. As long as they pushing out Renegades, fuck it.
Well, that's kind of the direction I was going. Is anybody really interested in a Gladiator 4xe? Because that's supposed to be coming out relatively soon, if not already.
This is a business decision. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Look at the 4xe; it's the number one PHEV out there, right?
It amazes me
on the Wrangler. Who would have thought? Just like, and Greg has said this many times, the 4-door JK was a gamble. They didn't think it was going to sell, and it exploded. This is what Jeep is. They're there to grow and make money. And if this helps them be more sustainable, that's going to help all of us in the long run. That Jeep is a viable company still there for the rest of us with our regular ICE engines.
Mm-hmm. Well, like Greg was saying, it's a technology that's not ready yet. And I wonder, this R&D, they're kind of doing it on the backs of the customers. They're trying to make the technology happen. I mean, and sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to invest in something, and hopefully it's going to work out. But I think it's pretty easy to see that the battery technology just isn't there. And
not arguing that. Yeah. Again, it's a business decision. They're trying to grow the brand, increase their sales numbers. If this is what they have to do it, then that's what they do.
And you said the 4xe, the JL, for example, is one of their best-selling vehicles. So I'm sure they're trying to put that mojo on the Gladiator that has seen dismal sales, which I'm still confused about, because when the Gladiator first came out, people were really excited about it. I got one. It is very, very nice.
Yeah.
It's nice when I see them stock, I could care less about it.
Oh, they're so anemic looking.
Once you've done the work to them, once you modify them a little bit, take them from that stock form, they're fantastic looking vehicles.
Yeah, the Wranglers look much better stock than the Gladiators do.
Yeah. And the Gladiator 4xe will 100% grab, because again, I'm on a 4xe page, and I asked how many people, because 90%, it's I don't know the numbers, but majority of the Jeep owners, period, don't go off road. And then I was like, all right, I know this. How many 4xe members go off road? And the feedback I got was so minimal. Like, people don't do it. The Jeep, the truck is going to be a truck. As long as it can pull and haul, it will be fine. And that's what I worry about. As long as they've done the research to pull and haul to where it can do, it's not a heavy duty truck, but it needs to be able to do truck stuff with that 4xe motor.
Right. I hope that's Travis that froze and not Zoom.
No, it's Travis.
Am I frozen?
No,
that's
you're
all right.
back.
We could hear you just fine. You're just sitting there waiting for some food.
I was eating some Cheetos.
Flaming hot or regular?
It's actually Smart Food Cheeto popcorn.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I bet it
really
is.
good.
All right, Travis. I was told you didn't go wheeling this weekend, so we got to chat about that.
We'll do that after the show.
Sounds good.
Oh, have you heard from Diesel, Travis? It was fun having him on the show.
Oh yeah, I talked to him. I told him he just had stuff going on tonight, but yeah, he said 100% he'll be back.
Good.
Yeah, he had a good time. He's got a lot going on prepping for not King of the Hammer, Ultra 4 in Tennessee. So he's just prepping, working around the clock, also running the shop, doing everything he does. But yeah, he loved it, had a good time with all you guys.
Yeah, it was fun having him on. And of course, Greg knows him. So I told him, I said, well, you're welcome here anyway.
Well, it's good. I was like, let me get this guy on here. Cause Diesel, I respect and highly admire his skill and work ethic, knowledge, good guy. And yeah, gives back to the community, which is a big thing I'm a huge fan of, but then he's got personality for days. And I was like, oh, he'll have fun on there. So yeah, I'll get him back on.
Good. I'd like to do an interview with him too. So if you just happen to be talking to him, mention that to him, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think he'd be a hoot. All right, let's move on to our next and really a question we don't normally get to, our third question. I used to do 4 questions on each episode, each roundtable episode. We never got to the third one, so we only have 3 questions tonight. But given the time constraints, I think this is going to work out just fine. So my question is, what is the best Jeep? A TJ, a JK, or a JL? And of course, I think Steve pointed out where's the XJ on that thing. And it's, I should have said Wranglers. So what is the best Jeep Wrangler? TJ, JK, or JL?
TJ.
Blue JL.
JK.
LJ.
JK.
Nicole said the YJ.
Yeah, I was waiting for Travis to say that.
Sitting here wondering why that wasn't on the list.
That's right. YJ would be the best. But that's Nicole's opinion. I'm gonna have to go TJ.
Well, what about the LJ over the TJ?
I think the LJ is probably. Oh well, I can see what you're saying. I get those confused sometimes. I was thinking of the JL. I understand the JLs are very nice. Where's Andrew in here? He's done a lot of work to his LJ.
Yeah.
If I would have known about the LJs when I bought my TJ, it would have been different.
I think they're really hard to find, frankly.
I saw a stock Rubicon. Yeah, I saw a stock Rubicon this weekend.
How much?
They're out there.
It wasn't for sale. It was in the parking lot.
Oh.
They're on Facebook Marketplace all the time. I see them.
I mean, I've seen them for like $28,000 to $40,000.
Oh no, I see them. I see them around here in Arkansas from 15 to 20. And they don't look roached out. I mean, they look in maybe not Rubicon, but
it doesn't have to be a Rubicon for me. In fact, I like it when it's not a Rubicon because you can put your own stuff on there, make it modify it the way you want to modify it.
Yep.
You still do that to a Rubicon.
Absolutely, but you paid less for it to start with.
Correct.
It's like Zabo. He talks about that Rubicon that he's done all that stuff too. There's no Rubicon left on that thing. It's all different.
Yeah.
I just like to have mine that's still roadworthy. So going to tons is, I probably wouldn't be able to get it in my garage with my wife's Jeep next to it. So that's why I kind of like the LJ Rubicon with the already longer wheelbase. You don't have all the pinion angle issues with the axle out back, and you have more room because the TJ has absolutely no room when you keep the back.
It's very tight. And Rick, what are you, 6'2", 6'4"? And you sleep in the damn TJ.
Yeah.
Diagonally.
6'4", sleep in it, and just take the passenger seat out. Of course, got the rear seat out, and I sleep like a baby in that thing. I don't know if it's because usually when I'm sleeping in it's because we're doing crazy stuff, and I'm just beat down and exhausted by the end of the day. But man,
I thought it was the gasoline fumes.
I was going to say, yeah, there's the fumes.
It could be the gasoline.
Really weird dreams too.
That might have something to do with it, but
I'm surprised Bob didn't jump in there. He must be working with customers or something. I figured Bob would jump in with the TJ. I've always really liked the TJ, and I think I've told you guys before, the TJ was the first Jeep that I was going to buy. And but having two little girls at the time and seeing this beautiful red XJ on the showroom floor, I talked the wife into, let's get the XJ. We can always get the TJ in a couple of years.
The XJs are pretty good. I got to drive. We did a little Chinese fire drill when we was out in the middle of the Ozarks, and we all swapped Jeeps. And the XJ was pretty cool, very very capable, and his was built very similar to my TJ. Now, when I got in the JK, and it was a overlanding rig with the tent on top and all that stuff. Man, that's like driving a Mack truck through the woods. I don't see how you guys do that.
Did it feel a little tipsy with the weight up high?
No, it just, I couldn't see. I'm used to seeing everything. I'm used to being able to see where my tires are and where everything's at. And with that thing, I mean, you just had to guesstimate. And there wasn't, like in the TJ, I can go back and forth in the trail. There wasn't no going back and forth in that JK. I mean, that thing was, you just went right down the middle of the trail and that was it. Mm-hmm. You had option A. That was it. It
is very nice having more room. I mean, there's a lot more room in the Gladiator than there is in the XJ, and certainly a lot more that in my wife's TJ. But there's just something so neat about driving a TJ. It's such a short wheelbase, and it feels so nimble that you can just weave in and out of things very quickly, make those turns very quickly. So and you can get it up high so you can see what's going on down the road. See above the civilians.
Yeah. But when you get in trouble, it's like in the picture behind me, you get in those places where you're trying to stretch out and reach up to that next ledge and pull yourself up. You get in trouble.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good wrap for tonight's episode. I really appreciate everybody showing up, and I think it's great that you guys were able to go to the 5th annual Jeep Talk Show event up at Hot Springs, Arkansas. Quick question: where should we have the event next year? Should we do Hot Springs, or I know what Travis is going to say.
Windrock.
Yeah, somewhere in Georgia or close. We want to go.
Tennessee. How about that?
What about you, Ari?
Why would anyone want to go to Uwharrie?
Oh shit.
Wait for it. Oh, he doesn't know he's muted.
I think s'more would be pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be up for s'more.
I agree. S'more.
Where's that at? In Texas?
Missouri.
Southeast
Missouri.
Really? Man, that's a haul.
It's like it's a haul from Texas too.
Everybody gets to feel the pain. Yeah.
We just need to find a spot right in the middle.
That's Hot Springs or s'more. That's about as middle as you can get.
In the middle of what? In the middle of the South or in the middle of the U.S.?
Yeah, it's middle of the South.
Yeah, we need some definitions here of what the middle of what is.
What's the park in? Is it?
I guess somewhere between me and Tony.
Oh.
Well, that sounds like Hot Springs.
What'd you say?
Yeah, Tony, you're in Texas, right?
Yep, Southeast Texas. And there's several places on the East Coast that have been popularized by shows that I would watch that look really cool. I never can remember it, but I remember Ian Johnson on his the show he was used to be with. He would take his creations out there and take it off road.
Tennessee, Roush Creek. Yep, Pennsylvania.
I don't know how good it is, but he used it a lot.
What's the one with the rattlesnake cave or something like that in there? Where you interviewed the guy. They do like a once a year Jeep event. I'm kind of wondering
what in Georgia.
Yeah, that would be closer to Derek and them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we're good. We're good within the middle. As long as we got some notice, we would love to go out. We don't mind traveling.
Well, it'll probably be
Turkey Base.
It'll probably be
between
June.
the lakes.
It'll probably be June, first week of June next year. So we have plenty of time to think about it and go out there and do it. Is there any place to go in Illinois, Steve?
No.
Isn't there a place in Indiana like Redbird or something?
Redbird, Interlake. There's not bad parks. I've done both.
Oh, Land Between the Lakes.
Land Between the Lakes is a great place in Kentucky.
Great butter.
A little small for groups, though. For bigger groups,
it depends how big you are.
Oh, that's
but you got the whole peninsula to play around in, though. That's the fun part of it.
Go up to Drummond.
Yeah. Hey, Columbus Day weekend, I want to go up to Drummond.
I've heard you guys talk about Drummond. Drummond, I interviewed somebody that worked up there at Drummond, and it seemed like more of a casual stroll, an interesting place, but it seemed like more of a casual stroll off road, not so much any kind of a wheeling type thing.
No, there's
a little bit of wheeling, and there's there's the off-road park on the island.
Yeah. Plus the fall colors is a lot of fun up there. It's really neat. It's just the adventure getting up there. You got to take a ferry to get across the bay, and it's a social aspect of it.
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Cell Services Canada.
Don't go up there now. They'll tear for you. All right, everyone. That's a wrap for this week's Jeep Talk Show Roundtable. A big thank you to all of our Zoom participants. You guys have made this so much fun and informative every week. And, of course, a shout out to everyone that would be watching us. That would be watching us on YouTube, but we don't do that no more. We learned our lesson. So remember, you can join us again Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time for more Jeep Talk, random questions, and always a few rabbit trails. Don't forget to visit xjtalk.com/contact to find out how you can be part of the conversation. Join the Jeep Talk Show family. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Oh, and by the way, I think it is absolutely great that so many people went to the Hot Springs event. We really appreciate it. I didn't mean to make it negative by saying we didn't have as big a turnout. We just didn't have as big a turnout as what we've seen in the past, and I'm certainly hoping it wasn't because of where we had it. I'm going to push for not Hot Springs. What is it? Hidden Valley ranch dressing, Hidden Falls here in Texas. So, because I really like that, and there's always a possibility that we could have more than one event a year. I think Janet, or if you're still here, or maybe it's Amanda, either one of you, don't you guys do something at Hidden Falls like in October or something? Or is it January?
Well, we do a trip down to Wolf Caves, and I was actually going to propose that a cooler weather Jeep Talk Show event at Wolf Caves in Mason, Texas, because June in Wolf Caves is a no-go. But
where the hell is Mason, Texas?
Exactly.
Right next to Marble Falls.
You wouldn't believe how many cities are in Texas. I mean, I've lived here all my life, and I still hear ones that I don't know what the hell they are. Never heard of them. I have to look them up on the map. So what do you need for Wolf Caves? I've heard that you have to have a pretty good built rig for Wolf Caves. It's like the hardcore Moab type thing.
It can get spicy, but I mean, it just, depends on how well you know your rig. But I would definitely say it can be done on 35s, but 37s is preferable.
Lockers, no lockers?
I've done it with, locked in the front, limited slip in the rear. I mean, it just, the appeal of caves is you can kind of make it your own. Mm-hmm. You can go from kind of spicy to like, over the top, buggy stuff.
I've heard a lot of good things about Wolf Caves. I just didn't think I had the rig built up enough to be able to use the Wolf Caves, especially because of the length of the Jeep.
Oh yeah, your Gladiator, you would be dragging ass all over the place. It would be rough. The TJs would love it though.
Well, I got skid system and nice bumpers, so I don't mind that so much as long as I don't get stuck.
That's 18 hours from here.
Yeah, that's like Moab is for me.
I'd rather drive to Moab.
The other thing I was going to mention to you guys is we don't normally talk about this. We have a unofficial roundtable every Thursday, also at 7:30 p.m. that you're more than welcome to join. We don't record or publish that, but you should always assume you're being recorded. I do that just to make sure somebody doesn't say something. So, but 7:30 p.m. right here, same thing, jeeptalkshow.com/roundtable, password Jeep. So we'll be doing that one in a couple of days, and you're more than welcome to join. It's a lot looser. It's kind of like the After Dark issue of the Roundtable, which we're getting ready to start now. All right, you guys have a great night. Thank you very much for joining us. And as I was mentioning, the show continues. You guys are more than welcome to stay here and talk about anything you like.
Broadcasting since 2010.
All right, Steve, damn it, you can talk.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.